This is Patty Ford, and I want to thank you for joining me in the Session B of the Toshiba Communications Basics course. As with all of our TTC courses, there are controls at the bottom of the screen that will allow you to stop, pause, and/or restart the session. This course is designed to provide a high-level overview of basic communications theories and concepts in preparation for Toshiba product and technology courses. It is primarily designed for sales representatives that are new to the telecommunications industry, but it's also a good reminder for those of us that have been around a few years. There are many online tutorials on the internet for sales reps that want additional information in communications history and theory, local and long-distance practices, regulatory issues, and technologies. This module covers the players in the industry as well as access options. There are many players in the communications game that make it possible for your customers, our end users, to be able to communicate the way that best suits their needs and applications. First, there's the end user. That's the ABC company in this slide. Second, your company provides an interconnect service that supplies the end user's equipment and sometimes other services that are used to connect the end user's equipment to either both the public switch telephone network or PSTN and a data network such as a LAN, WAN, or even the Internet. Third, the local telephone company, or local exchange carrier, sometimes referred to as the LEC, provides the connection from ABC Company's building to their central office, or CO, and to the rest of the outside world that operates on the PSTN. This is typically on a circuit switch network. ABC Company also has another connection through their ISP, that's the fourth player, to their other locations over their wide area network or WAN, and to remote IP phones using the Internet as a network connection. Now let's look more specifically at the services that each of these companies provide. Toshiba authorized dealerships are regionally based telecommunications companies with sales, service, and support. Our dealers provide a high level of expertise and knowledge to small and mid-sized businesses who are investing in voice, video, and data solutions. Each dealership is dedicated to providing outstanding service and knowledge, as well as delivering the best technology solutions to the end user's organization and backing it up with ongoing technical support. Through the Toshiba network of over 700 authorized factory service centers across the United States, our dealers can service national accounts in remote locations as if they were in their local region. The telephone company that supports the public switch telephone network, or PSTN, provides a number of services, including POTS, which is Plano Telephone Service, R1 for residential, B1 for business lines, analog and digital trunks, T1, which is 24 channels or DSO for phone calls, or 1.544 megabits per second for data, Integrated Services Digital Network, referred to as ISDN, and typically the Primary Rate Interface, or PRI, which is over a T1, providing 23 channels for voice and video and data and 1 D channel for signaling. We'll have more details on these options in later slides. Some of the services include long distance or toll, dedicated circuit applications, not very many payphones, but occasionally a few, long distance or IXC access, sometimes ISP or Internet Service Provider access, custom local area signaling services like caller ID, call block, automatic callback, those kinds of things, as well as some still provide public data networks. As stated earlier, the PSTN is a generic term for a traditional voice network. A number of companies have PSTNs that interface and work together to carry our calls across a city, state, or country. The place where networks interface or intersect is called a point of presence, or referred to as a POP. An Internet Service Provider is an ISP. Just to add to the confusion, ISPs are sometimes occasionally called IAPs for Internet Access Providers. At any rate, for a monthly fee, the service provider provides a minimum software package, username, password, and access phone numbers. When equipped with a modem or broadband access, you can log into the Internet to browse the World Wide Web, send and receive email, etc. In addition to serving individuals, ISPs also serve businesses. They provide a direct connection from the company's network to the Internet or intranet, or through another type of broadband service. ISP themselves are connected to one another through network access points, or NAPs, and connected to the PSTN at POPs. In this section, we'll clarify the different ways our customers can connect their office communication equipment to the networks we previously described. POTS, short for plain old telephone service, refers to the standard telephone service that most homes and small businesses use. POTS is generally restricted to about 50K PBS, which is 52,000 bits per second. A POTS line is one full duplex analog communication. This means simultaneous two-way communication, and it runs between the central office or CO and one telephone set, and it uses one pair of twisted copper wires. The POTS network is also called the Public Switch Telephone Network, which is PSTN, and as I mentioned in Session A, it's also called a traditional or TDM service, and that stands for time division multiplexing. T1 is a dedicated phone connection between a company and the LEC or ISP that supports data rates of 1.544 megabits per second. A T1 line consists of 24 individual channels if used for voice, each supporting 64K or bits per second. Each 64K channel can be configured to carry voice or data traffic. T1 lines are popular lease lines for businesses connecting to the Internet and for Internet service providers connecting to the Internet backbone. T1 lines are sometimes referred to as DS1 lines. Sometimes thinking of a phone line that can carry up to 24 simultaneous calls is hard to picture. A T1 is a point-to-point or dedicated facility that operates on 4-wire or a 2-pair circuit. It's 24 DSOs or individual channels that are multiplexed, sometimes just called muxed, onto this T1 or DS1 facility. The capacity is 24 channels at 64K for voice or 1.544 megabits for data. Voice calls on a traditional circuit switch network are assigned a time slot in the multiplexing process, and that's dedicated for the length of the call. A T1 is part of a digital hierarchy of facilities. 24 channels or DSOs are multiplexed into the T1 or DS1. 28 T1s are multiplexed into a T3 or DS3, and that equals 672 channels, or equal to carrying 672 simultaneous traditional telephone calls. Many businesses use T1 or multiple T1s for access to the public switch telephone network and/or to a large data network. Large businesses, schools, and government installations use T3s the same way. Some organizations use T3s as the backbone for their private networks. PRI, or Primary Rate Interface, is a type of ISDN service designed for larger organizations. PRI includes 23 B channels and 1 D channel. PRI service is generally transmitted through a T1 line. Direct Inward Dialing, or DID, is a service of a local exchange carrier, or LEC, and allows an organization to have numerous individual phone numbers for each person or workstation in its PBX system. These are also referred to as dedicated telephone numbers. A DID call does not connect through an operator or automated attendant and can be used for fax machines and voice transmissions. DIDs can be analog lines or provided over a T1 PRI. DSL stands for Digital Subscriber Lines. There are a variety of DSL schemes for POTS lines and T1. They're sometimes referred to as last mile technologies because they are used only for connections from telephone switching station to a home or office, not between switching stations. Various types of access require different types of signaling from the local exchange carrier's central office. Supervisory signals or supervision controls the way a circuit is seized or goes off hook or disconnected, which is in an on-hook state. The decision to use loop start, ground start, or E&M signaling depends on the customer's applications and may be a requirement of some manufacturer's equipment. ISP access is as varied as LEC access. By using a variety of facilities to connect to the individual customer or business to the ISP network and to the Internet. Access can be over a regular or enhanced telephone line like DSL, T1, PRI, or even broadband television cable. Traditional private line networks were designed and deployed over PSTN facilities. Originally, private voice networking conjured up images of tie lines, access codes, private numbering plans, all driven by PBX software. It's not uncommon for customers who have multiple offices in a metropolitan area to still have this kind of private network. These networks are a variety of PBXs interconnected via standard tie lines or private lines. Each PBX in the network is interconnected with some number of other PBXs via these tie line groups. Tie lines or tie groups in these private networks typically incorporate digital T1 trunking between the PBXs. These are typically monthly leased lines from the local exchange carrier and are interconnected at the central office. IP networking enables our customers to use a TCP/IP network as a transmission medium for telephone calls. This is done by sending voice and data packets using IP rather than traditional circuit transmission of the public switch telephone network. It provides connectivity and capabilities over an IP network, a VPN, a WAN, internet, or intranet. Also, multiple location customers still have a coordinated numbering plan and can take advantage of centralized attendant and centralized voicemail. VoIP or Voice over IP means Voice over Data Networks, and these have become much more popular due to the efficiencies we talked about in Session A. One of the leading access methods for VoIP is SIP, Session Initiation Protocol. It's a signaling system for connections across the Internet or data network. SIP trunk is a network interface device that recognizes SIP signals and processes these to other SIP devices. Prior to SIP trunking, businesses had to have separate voice and data hardware and network connections, voice connected to the PSTN and data to the Internet. SIP trunking simplifies VoIP services for integrated voice and data onto common all-IP Internet Protocol network connections. Some equipment requires an IAD, an integrated access device, that interfaces with the LAN and data network to automatically manage data and voice packets. This gives priority for voice for high-quality performance. Toshiba uses this with SIP trunking access prior to the MIPU. Thank you for attending Session B of the Communications Basic course. Don't forget, there's one final session for this course. Thanks.